Welcome everybody to this video. In today's video, we'll be going over all of my bowl games, picks, and predictions, but I will not be doing CFP games. I'll save college football playoff games for another video, and in that video, I'll go over the college football playoffs, college football semifinals, as well as my predictions for the national champions. But with that, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, Capital One Bowl made it. It's a great time of year. Bowl games start 2 days from now, and we're starting out with the first bowl game of the year. It's the Myrtle Beach Bowl. It's Ohio taking on Georgia Southern. Now this is an interesting game. Ohio in the MAC, they were projected to be the best team in the MAC. Their offenses looked great in that MAC conference. Came up short, could not make it to their conference championship game, going up against Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern, they haven't really looked that great all season. I'm going to take Ohio in this game. In the next game, we've got we've got Florida A&M taking on Howard. This is the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Now as a person who's basically a DC man, I don't want to pick against Howard. I don't. But I have to. I don't think Howard is gonna win this game. I just don't. Florida A&M is by far the best team in the SWAT, which is why they're here, and they're gonna win the MEAC Cricket Celebration Bowl. Howard's not gonna compete. I don't even want to talk about this. Next, guys, next. And interesting game here. We've got Jacksonville State. What is this? Their second year in FCS? Second? Yeah, I think it's their second year in FCS. And look at how well they're doing. 8-4. They're in a bowl game. They're favorites in a bowl game. Going up against Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, who are usually pretty good, but this year they haven't been as good as they usually are. Jacksonville State, they've been impressing for a team that just came from the FCS. They've been very well. We'll talk about another former FCS team pretty soon. That made even bigger headlines. But yeah, Jacksonville State, they've impressed me. I'm gonna take Jacksonville State in this game. Whew. This, my friend, this is what I call an underrated football game. Next up, we've got Appalachian State and Miami and the Avocados from Mexico Beer Bowl. Who wins this game? We're starting off with App State. They just got they just got absolutely kicked. They just got whooped by Troy, who we'll talk about later on. But yeah, no, they just got absolutely mollywopped in their conference championship game. Appalachian State not as good as they usually are. They couldn't even win the Sun Belt this year. Taking on a Miami of Ohio team who was able to win the MAC conference. Very surprising. They get the win over Toledo. This is a very interesting game. I'm gonna take App State to win this game. Their defense, it's still good, and I think this will be a defensive game, a close defensive game. Probably if I would take, I don't know what the over under is for this game, but if the over under was anywhere over like 46, 47, well, if it was anywhere with like I'll adjust. If it was anywhere over 47 to 48, I would probably take it. Moving on, we've got Fresno State taking on New Mexico State. New Mexico State, they've played 14 games. They played week 0 and have not had a bye week. So that's incredible. They're coming off of a huge program building win against Auburn, the upset in Jordan here too. Shout out to New Mexico State. They've had a great season, and they were in that game against Liberty. It was 35-49, but it was a very competitive game. Ooh, That was a fun game to watch. That game might have been better than that game. I won't tell a lie, but that's not what we're talking about right now. They're taking on Fresno State, who started the year really well. They were 8-0. People were thinking maybe Fresno State could be the Group of Five representative in the New Year's Six Bowls. That didn't turn out. They lost their final four games. They did not look great. They just fell off. To be completely honest with you, New Mexico State, they look like a well-oiled machine. This is a huge game for New Mexico. Their players will be rallied and ready. And I'm going to take New Mexico State to win this game, and hopefully they can build on this momentum into next year. Next up, it's not the Jimmy Kimmel label and you got anymore, guys. It's the Starco. What is that? This is off topic. I don't even know what that is. Let me just look up what Starco Brands even is. It's a company. It's an invention factory. Okay, it's an invention factory. Let me look at the L. Have to change the LA Bowl logo. I want to see if they changed the logo. 3 reasons to rock. Oh yeah, no, yeah, that should definitely be a good game. That LA Bowl. I just want to see if they changed the logo. Okay, they did it. Hosted by Gronk. Yo, whoa, 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 whoa. Hosted by Gronk and just Stucco Brand. Okay, okay. Where is this gonna be? Where is this broadcast of Rob Gronkowski gonna be taking place? Consumer goods company, blah 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 blah. It's gonna be hosted by Gronk. It's gonna be hosted by Gronk. He's gonna be in the stadium. I just sound so disappointed. Okay, but yeah, this is actually a very intriguing game. UCLA, they start off the year. They look really good. They have a very bad dry patch. They have a very bad dry patch. They proceed to lose their. They got blown out by Cal in their last game. As you see here, we're about to get to Cal in a little bit. UCLA, they started off looking promising, but they just ended off the season terribly, taking on a Boise State team who was doubted. I mean, Boise State, they were the underdogs at some points in the season. And in that conference, Mountain West haven't really been under. But this year they came back. They fired their head coach, and the new head in the interim, he has rejuvenated that team. They've all played hard under that team. You saw that dominating victory they just get over UNLV. I think they're going to continue that momentum, and then they're going to get another really good win, a big win against UCLA. UCLA, this isn't a motivating game for UCLA. Boise State, this is a big game for Boise State. I mean, to be able to play and win this game for your interim head coach, that's huge. You want to be able to do that, of course. So I think Boise State, they'll win this game fair and what they'll win this game pretty simply. Next up, we've got Cal taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech, they started off the year not bad. They weren't terrible. They kind of fell. I mean, remember that real close game they had with Oregon? Yes, it was at home, but still, that was a really fun game. I remember that game. That game was really fun. But Texas Tech in the last few weeks, they just fell off completely. They just gave up, especially in that game against Texas. Lost what 57-7. They just gave up. Cal, on the other hand, they have really racked up some good wins. That dominating win against UCLA, Texas Tech, they don't look like a motivated team at all. They don't look like a team that wants to be here at all. Cal, I think this is a very motivated, high passion team, and for that reason, give me the Golden Bears. Yeah, Golden Bears. Now we kind of get to just like the random games that don't starting. This is on Monday at 2:30. We got the famous Toastery Bowl between Old Dominion and Western Kentucky. Old Dominion, they've been a very sneaky team. That's a sneaky team, especially next year. I think they play a team like South Carolina next year, who's for a QB. That could be interesting. I could see Old Dominion pulling the upset on the SEC school, but we're talking about this year. And this year they look like a very promising team. I like Old Dominion. They look promising. Taking on Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky, they've looked like a solid team too. They looked better kind of early in the year after that Ohio State game. Eh. But they're still good. But I do think May is going to DC this Virginia. But I'm taking Old Dominion to win this game. I think Old Dominion they've looked great. This would be a fun no, not fun. Next up, we've got the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl between Marshall and UTSA. Damn, money line for this game is way higher than all the other ones. UTSA big favorites over Marshall, and I don't have a problem with that. I'm picking UTSA. UTSA, they started off the year terribly. They went 8-1 in conference play, only losing at the very end of the season to Tulane. But UTSA, ever since that loss, they've looked very promising. They've looked good. They've looked really good. Marshall, on the other hand, not so much. Usually Marshall is like pretty decent, but this year it has not been. And Marshall is terrible. They're 6-6. So they got here, but they're not good. UTSA wins. Next up, you got a Thursday game, 8 o'clock. It is Syracuse taking on USF in the roofclaim.com Boca Raton. The roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. Okay. USF. Remember they had that real close game against Alabama? That was the week where Jalen Milroe got benched, and they had like Tyler Buckner and then some other. I forget what his name is. The other QB. I think the backup came in. They won that game. Alabama won that game like 17-3. Their defense showed out. Shout out to Alabama. But we're not talking about Alabama right now. USF. They haven't looked like a terrible football team. I haven't been able to say that in a while. They still are not good, but yeah, taking on a Syracuse team who, as always, they start off the year 3-0, 4-0. They might have even been. What was Syracuse? They were actually pretty good at one point too. Yeah, like they were actually like had a pretty good game. 11th in the ACC. Lost to Boston College. Yeah, okay, Virginia Tech. But I mean, look at this. They started off the year what 1, 2, 3, 4-0. They always do this. They start off the year 3, 4-0, and then they just lose constantly. Look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 losses in a row. And only one of these games were one possession games. This game was a blowout. This game was a blowout. This game was a blowout. And this game was a blowout. They played Boston College pretty close. They beat Pitt. They lost by 9 to Georgia Tech. And they beat Wake Forest. Syracuse, they're so all over the place. It just doesn't make any sense. This has been a toss up for me for a while. This has been a toss up for me. Uh, I think, but I do think I'll take Syracuse. I think Syracuse is better than USF. Next up, we've got an interesting matchup. It's UCF taking on Georgia Tech in the. Let me make sure I close my door for this. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. UCF, they've had some good wins this year. UCF, they started off the year really bad because their QB got hurt, but they played some close games. They played a close game against Oklahoma, almost upset them. They blew out Oklahoma State. Well, I mean that one doesn't look as good as it did at one point, but still a good win, guys. What Still a really good win. Where did that even come up from? I think I'm from here. Locals, we got Boston, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, LA, New York. Okay. ESPN Bet Fantasy. Okay. But yeah, UCF, they're coming off of a good season, facing off Georgia Tech, who Georgia Tech ain't been relevant in a while, but they're a little bit relevant again. They played a close game against Georgia. They really had a great second half of the season. They upset North Carolina. They look good second half of the season. I do think this game will be close, but I think UCF will take it. I do think UCF is better than Georgia Tech. I do like Georgia Tech's defense though. I do. This game is just a toss up. NIU and Arkansas State. Then Arkansas State put up like 77 on a team, 79, something did like that in the Camellia Bowl. This game is just like both of these teams are it's minus 105 to minus 115 on the money line. This is I don't know who to pick here. Uh, Saturday, 12 o'clock, Camellia Bowl, Arkansas State. I don't know. Next up, we got the Birmingham Bowl. It is Troy taking on Duke in the, let me make sure I get this right, the 76 Birmingham Bowl. Guys, wow, bad. Troy, they're coming off of a really dominant win off of App State and a season where they basically just dominated the Sun Belt, taking on Duke, who looked really good start of the season. Riley Leonard gets hurt. He's in and out of the lineup. They lose a couple games, and now they're here in the Birmingham Bowl in a game where I can't even predict them to win. I'm taking Troy. Troy's defenses look very, very good. I'm gonna out of that Sun Belt. I do think Troy wins this game. Duke, they lose their head coach. They most likely losing Riley Leonard as well. I just can't see Duke winning this game. But shout out to Duke. They had a good season in football. I don't even remember the last time I was able to utter those words. Next up, this has been a game I've actually been interested in for a lot of reasons. This is a game that I am very interested in. This is one of my favorite non New Year Six bowl games. This is the one. Well, this is one of the ones that I've been looking forward to the most. It's James Madison taking on Air Force. Air Force. Kind of the same thing as Fresno State, to be honest. They started out 8-0. They looked really good. Are they the New Year Six group of five first team that could make it? No, they lose four straight to end the season. They don't look good at all. They got blown out by Navy. What 23? Like look at the drop off here. Let me just show you guys. Let me just show you guys because the drop off to me is just absolutely insane. Look at how well they were playing, and then they just start just losing. They lose what four straight? Yo, lost to Hawaii. Hawaii. How did you lose? How? They lost to Army in a game they didn't look good in. They lost Hawaii in another game they didn't look good in. Then they lose to UNLV in a game that was close. Then they lose to Boise State. They just ended off their season so incredibly bad. I don't even know what to say. They ended that off so bad, it's just sad. But yeah, Air Force. I was on the Air Force bandwagon to be honest. I was like, yeah, no, they're getting into the New Year's Six for sure. Yeah, Air Force on top. Air Force 12-0 season. Air Force making it to the next. Okay, I wasn't saying that much, but like you get what I'm trying to say. Going up against James Madison, another team like JMU National Championship, y'all better let them into the playoffs. I mean, if y'all rioting for FSU, I mean James Madison, they couldn't get into a New Year's Six bowl game because of eligibility. It was a big talk. And then they lost the Apps. They lost right at college game. They go. The crowd is electric, and then they proceed to lose to App State. But they've looked great all season. I like James Madison, even though they did lose their coach. I do think James Madison wins this game, and it should be fun. Speaking of a fun, oh, not this. Speaking of a fun game, this should be a very fun game. Utah State, Georgia State. I think this should be a very high scoring game. This is a toss up. Both have good offenses. I think this is a random kind of high scoring game. I do think Georgia State wins this game. Now I was always high on Georgia State throughout this season, and I'm gonna stay on that bandwagon. Give me Georgia State. Oh God. Eastern Michigan and South Alabama. South Alabama. I'm moving on. I don't even want to talk about this game. South Alabama because somebody else from the MAC had to get in, and it was Eastern Michigan, even though they suck. Next, Northwestern and Utah. Well, I may not. Well, I'll tell you who will win, of course, but like but you know what would be but you know what would be the better bet instead of taking the under? Instead of betting something on the spread, taking the under. Well, whatever the under is in this game, just take it. I'm kind of interested. What is the Oh, actually, let me pull up Action Network. They'll have all the good um they'll have all the good odds for all these games. Action Network bowl odds, guys. Bowl odds, guys. Bowl odds. Action has Option is good odds for every game. Take a look at these. Jesus. Let me just scroll down to yeah. Look at this. Georgia State, Utah State over under 61 and a half. Where's my game? Where's the game we're talking about right now? I can't even find it. Here it is. Under 41 and a half. Smash that under. Do not take the over. Smash that under. Utah 6.5 point favorites. Smash Northwestern. Now you should probably take the Utah money line in my opinion because I do think Utah will win this game, but you should definitely take that. You should definitely take the spread. You should definitely take Northwestern to cover that, and I think and then take the under. This will be a really low. Both teams really low scoring teams. Very. Why did I? I'm so actually no. I can just go through here. I can just go right here. I could get back to it. Ooh, man. I'm so close. Next up, we've got the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl. It is San Jose State taking on Coastal Carolina. Oh, God. This game next. But that's not what we're talking about right now. Coastal Carolina did not have the year they had. I mean, they haven't really been as good as they were since 2020. But they've still been a solid team, 7-5. They lost some good games. Taking on a San Jose team. San Jose State Heat team who almost made it to the Mountain West title game, just didn't. And I think San Jose State wins this team. They're gonna be motivated. They're gonna come in here. And I think they're gonna win this game. San Jose State is gonna beat Coastal Carolina. Oh my God. Do I even have a prediction for these next two games? Both of these. Do they happen on the same day too? God, this is terrible. Let me just get both of these games over with right now. First of all, Minnesota. They shouldn't even be here right now. They're 5-7. There just weren't enough 6-6. There just weren't enough 6-6 teams. They got an invite here. I don't think Minnesota PJ Flecky's a good coach. He'll have his guys ready. But Bowling Green, this is Bowling Green's Super Bowl. Bowling Green, they haven't been relevant. Talk about good. They haven't been relevant in who knows how long, to be honest. They haven't been relevant in a while. I'm taking Bowling Green in this game. For Texas State Rice, Texas State wins. Throw a coin up in the air. I should do that, but we won't. Oh, these are the type of games I like. These are the intriguing ones I like. Yeah. Cool. Close out this little Tuesday night after Christmas with an actual good game. We got UNLV taking out Kansas. This is intriguing. UNLV, they are coming off a bad loss. They're coming off of a very bad loss actually to Boise State. They got blown out. I called that, by the way. I said Boise State was going to win. I said it I did. Taking on a Kansas team. I think Kansas is a good team. Their quarterback situation has been screwed for the longest time. Jalen Daniels, that back problem. I don't think Kansas wins this game though. UNLV, I do like UNLV, but I think Kansas wins this game. Moving on, we've got the Military Bowl presented by GoBowling.com. We've got Tulane taking on Virginia Tech. I can't even lie to you. I've been a fan of Virginia Tech all year. There are some players for Tulane that probably aren't going to play. Tulane, they are not looking they have not looked like the greatest team all year long. For that reason, I'm taking Virginia Tech. They've got a great offense as well, like a really good offense. Watch out for that Virginia Tech offense. This is an interesting Duke's Mayo Bowl game. This is interesting. Duke's Mayo Bowl, West Virginia and North Carolina. Nobody expected West Virginia to be in this situation. 8-4. People thought they were going 4-8, 3-9. Talk about 8-4. It's been a great season for West Virginia. They're on a North Carolina team that started the year really well, and they just fell off an ab. They fell off. They fell off an absolute cliff. It was embarrassing how much they fell off. That was terrible. This is a chance for them to bounce back. Drake May, we already know he's not playing. They'll have a couple more opt outs. West Virginia, this is a big game for them, and I'm gonna take West Virginia. I think West Virginia wins that game. Next up, we got the DirecTV Holiday Bowl between USC and Louisville. This game coming on Fox and Petco Park. We already, excuse me, we already know that Caleb Williams isn't playing. We know there are probably going to be a couple more opt outs for USC, but USC they still have a really good offense, and I think this game will be close. But Louisville, they've also got a good offense. Oh, put up 6 points against Florida State. Their offense has played well, and USC's and even if they did, USC's off defense is so bad. It's so bad, and so for that reason, I gotta take Louisville over SC. Starting to get into some of the good bowl games now. Next up, we got Oklahoma State. Oh, wrist. Next up, we got Oklahoma State taking on Texas A&M. Very intriguing game. Oklahoma State, they're coming off losing the Big 12 to Texas. And in a week, they got blown out, barely beating teams like BYU, taking on a Texas team, Texas A&M team, who's had a very solid backup in Henderson. He played well against LSU. I know LSU's defense is terrible, right? Bear me that. I know LSU's defense is terrible, but he still looked good. They've got a new coach, new system. Oklahoma State, they don't want to be here. They thought they'd be in a better game. This is also basically a de facto game, home game for Texas A&M. Is this game? I mean, it's not that big of a home game for Texas A&M. It's not like this is a team coming from, I don't know, Green Bay coming to Texas. This is Oklahoma. This is an Oklahoma State team, so I mean, it's not too much of a travel for them either. But I'm Texas is also really big, but I'll take Texas A&M to get the dub on this one. Next up, we got the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. We got two back-to-back bowls taking place in baseball stadiums. This one taking place at Fenway Park. I don't know where else it'd be taking place. It's literally called the Fenway Bowl. But why did I scroll down here? Let me scroll back up real quick. Boston College and SMU. Damn SMU, y'all were one spot away from a group of six from a New Year's Six bowl game, and now y'all gotta get put here. Number one, that backup QB didn't look bad against Tulane at all. He kind of diced them up, taking on a Boston College team that nobody expected to be here, but they had some close games against teams like FSU. They got some good wins in there as well, but I don't think they win this game. They get mollywhopped by SMU. SMU's gonna mollywop them even without their QB. God, what is this? Next up, we got the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. It's Miami taking on Rutgers in the game. I I I won't guarantee you, but because there are people from colleges of both these teams. But if you do not go to Rutgers or Miami or don't live in the New York area, you do not care about this game. You do not care about this game. If you don't live in the Florida, New York area or went to Rutgers or Miami, you do not care about this game. Um I'm gonna take Rutgers just because one, they have a really good defense. Two, I think Miami, they've got to go up to New York. I think the conditions, it's gonna be cold in New York. This is what, 3 days after Christmas. We know it's gonna be cold. Can Miami take that cold weather they're used to playing in? Well, Miami's basically never cold, but yeah, they're gonna have to take the cold weather. They're gonna have to bundle up. It's probably gonna be 30 degrees there. It's gonna be cold, and I don't think they're gonna be able to handle it. For that reason, I'm gonna take Rutgers to get the upset win. Dang, this game is 50-50. We got two back-to-back really good bowl games, really intriguing bowl games actually. Number one, we got Kansas. I say it like that, Kansas. We got Kansas State taking on NC State. Two state teams going at each other. This is an intriguing game to me. Kansas State, they did lose Will Howard, but they're still a good football team. But Will Howard, excuse me, that is a big loss. Taking on an NC State team that really bounced back later in the year. They looked really good. I like this NC State team. They beat North Carolina convincingly, which I thought that'd be a difficult win for them to get, but they went and they got that win. And I'm gonna take NC State. I doubted them, but I'm not gonna doubt them here. I'm taking NC State. Don't make me mad. Next up, we got Oklahoma taking on Arizona. Oklahoma, of course, they lose Dylan Gabriel, but Jackson Arnold, he'll be starting this game. It'll be very intriguing to see what he can do. Taking on Arizona, Noah Fafita and that great team that really turned on after, what were they, 3-3, and they won all the rest of their games. I think that's what happened. Yeah, no, they turned on and they just won all their games. They had close games against Washington and against USC. If they win those games, they could be 10 and they could be what, 11-1, maybe even 12-1. They make it to their conference championship game. They lost some very close games against some very good teams. And yeah, I think Arizona, they've got the explosiveness, and I think Arizona's going to take the dub. Next up, we got the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl between Kentucky, Clemson, and Kentucky. Let me just get this clear right now. I don't think Kentucky wins. I think Clemson wins this game. Kentucky, yes, they beat Louisville. I don't care. Plain and simple. I think Clemson is just flat out better than them. Kentucky is just bottom feeders of the SEC basically. I mean, they're not Vanderbilt, but still bottom feeders of the SEC. They're not a great team. Clemson, they've bounced back in the second half. They've looked really good. Dabo Sweeney, he's turned it around. He's turned it around up in Carolina. And I'm gonna take Clemson. Next up, we got the Tony the Tiger Bowl. A game that'd be really interesting if DJ Ukulele, Yui Ungalele didn't transfer out of taking on Notre Dame. Well, I mean, it makes sense why he traveled. They're like Oregon State. They're not even going to be a Power Five school anymore. So it makes sense why he retired. Why he transferred. I'm just saying it would have been such a better game if he didn't transfer. Taking on Notre Dame, who won't have Sam Hartman in this game. I think Notre Dame wins. They've got a really good defense, and Oregon State, they're gonna probably lose a lot of players. I mean, they're not gonna be this is just not a great game for Oregon. Not a great matchup. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take Notre Dame to win this game. Next up, we've got the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, which between Iowa State and Memphis, which conveniently for Memphis is in Memphis. Now, Iowa State, they looked really good at the end of the year. They won that Farmageddon shootout in the snow, a snow shootout in Farmageddon against Kansas State. That's what I want to see during Farmageddon. Taking on a Memphis team that was very underrated from the American Conference. They were a very, very underrated team. I like Memphis. I have liked Memphis all year, but I don't think I could pick Memphis. I'm about to go to Iowa State on this one. Iowa State, they've played good football last couple weeks. I'm gonna have to take them. Here we go. First New Year's Six bowl game of prediction, and Missouri is favored. Really? Oh, we've got Ohio State taking on Missouri, and this is the money line. I see Missouri favored, and I'm confused. I'm just saying, Missouri 2.5 point favorites. Yes, I know they won't have Kyle McCord. Damn, they won't have Kyle McCord. Okay, wait. They're not gonna have Kyle McCord. They're not gonna have Marvin Harrison. But I do think everybody else should stay. And with everybody else staying, I do think Ohio State will still win this game. Now I really like Missouri's offense, and I really like Missouri's team. So I'll be rooting for Missouri for this game for sure. As an Alabama fan, that makes me an SEC fan. I'll cheer for Missouri to win their game, but I do think Ohio State is better. I think their defense is still really good. And I think their offense, it'll still be able to function even without McCord. Marvin Harrison, he might play. That's also another interesting thing because not only well he might just play and then go to the draft. He might not even go to the draft. So yeah, Marvin Harrison, he could even play, and if he plays, that's going to be a big boost too. So yeah, I'm still taking Ohio State to want to win this game. Next up, we got another intriguing New Year's Six bowl game. It is the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl game, and it is Penn State taking on Ole Miss. I gotta choose which team I like better, defense or offense. Penn State, they've got a great defense, but against good teams, well, Ohio State and Michigan both have really good defenses, but against those good teams, they could not score points. They could not put points up on the board. They scored 27 combined points in both those games. Yeah, yikes. Taking on an Ole Miss team that they're the offensive team. They have been one of the best. They were one of the best offenses in the SEC. They were one of the best offenses Power Five. They were a really good offense this year, but do I think they'll continue that? No. I think they'll have another good offensive performance, but I don't think they're gonna win. I am taking Penn State to get the victory there. Next, uh, this is this is just mediocrity. Maryland and Auburn. Now I know a lot of people are going in on Auburn because they were hanging in there in the Iron Bowl. Look, guys, it's just a rivalry game, and even though I do like Auburn and what they're building, I'm taking Maryland. They've got a really good offense. You see what Maryland? You see how they almost beat Michigan? Yes, that was Michigan with Sharon Moore, but still, they almost beat Michigan. So I mean, we should be putting more hype on Maryland too, right? Yeah, Maryland just has a lot of costly mistakes, but if they can just get those behind them and make the good plays, while also not having the mistakes, it could be good. I'm taking Maryland. Yes, I'm not taking over. Next up, we've got the Capital One Orange Bowl. It is Florida State taking on Georgia. Florida State, can you guys prove that you guys actually deserve this game with the CW? Oh, that's terrible. Damn, this game also has to compete with just this game, which I know everybody's gonna be watching. Yeah, Florida State and Georgia. I'll get this real quick. I think Georgia's winning this game. Florida State, you guys are not gonna win. I'm sorry. You guys are not that good of a team without Jordan Travis. Your defense is good, but your offense sucks. Georgia's defense is really good. They're gonna shut you guys down, and their offense is going to score points. I want to see what is the Georgia minus 14, and I could see Georgia covering that pretty easily as well. I would take Georgia minus 14. And since I'm saying Georgia minus 14, would I take the over under 44 and a half? I just wouldn't bet the over under 44 and a half. I just wouldn't do that. Sorry. If I was a better, if I was a betting man. I get this instant. Next up we got the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, which is on which is on the CW and on Barstool. It is Toledo taking on Wyoming. Toledo, they're coming off of a great they're coming off of a year where they actually played well in the MAC conference, but they could not get it done when it counts. Just like last year in MACtion in the MAC conference in the MAC championship, they couldn't get it done. Taking on Wyoming team was very good in the Mountain West. They've got a great offense that's explosive. I'm taking Wyoming. I don't think Toledo wins this game. Next up, we move on to the New Year's Six bowl games. You've got two bowl games left. Right. Three bowl games left because I'm not doing any of the college football playoff semifinal games. I'm not going to. I will not be predicting those games. I will be staying. I will not be doing the CFP game. Well, I will be predicting the CFP games, just not in this video. They'll have their own separate video. I'll predict the CFP semifinal games and the national championship, who I think is gonna win that as well. But let's get back on with the final three games. First off, we've got LSU taking on Wisconsin. Wisconsin is not a good team. The only reason they're here in the ReliaQuest Bowl is because the only reason they're here is because the Big Ten sucks. LSU wins this game and they really their offense destroys Wisconsin. Next up, we got Oregon versus Liberty. Liberty, y'all had a really good year, and I kind of feel bad for y'all because y'all had a really good year, but you guys are not winning this game. You guys are getting smoked. Oregon is smoking y'all. I don't care they won't have Bo Nix, but they might have Bo Nix. Bo Nix said I don't think Bo Nix is playing. He might play. No, Bo Nix is playing. Bo Nix said he's playing. This is gonna be the last college football game, and he's going to cook y'all, and he will do exactly that. I think Oregon they're gonna win this game very convincingly. I'm sorry, Liberty, but I can't pick y'all. And last prediction for this video, it is Tennessee taking on Iowa. Man, I can't. I don't have the. I can't take Iowa. Their offense is just so bad. I can't take them. Even if I want to, I just can't. I can't take Iowa. I'm taking Tennessee. And yeah, that's gonna do it. And also Iowa in the Big 12, the Big 10, the Big 12. Well, the Big 12 and the Big 10, they both suck. But yeah, no, the Big 10, it's terrible. And yeah, with that final game wrapped up, that'll end it for this video. See you next one. Peace out.